So for those of you that are joining, just repop the optional playlist in the chat box. You're welcome to also use your own music. And if you want to grab a pillow, an optional pillow from your bed or a couch cushion to put under your back for the first part, we're going to start laying down. Some people like to lie straight on the mat. Some like to lay on a prop. So that is your choice today. All right, my sound is good, Chris?
Excellent.
All right, so let's get started. So welcome everybody to Thursday lunch, to our 50-minute practice. I encourage you to make this practice your own today. Holding poses longer, maybe moving a little bit more if you want to get more energized. It's one of the best parts about yoga at home is you can make it your own practice in a different way from everybody else. So today we're going to start on our back. I'm using a long bolster. You can also use a couch cushion or a pillow, or just go all the way down to the floor. I'm going to tuck up my sit bones against my prop. I'm slowly going to lower all the way back down. Feeling my back melt the prop or the mat. And then you have the option of keeping your knees bent or bringing your feet together and bring those knees out to the side. So experimenting with that back laying position on the mat. You can let those arms reach out beside you, back to the palm on the mat. Maybe bring your head up and lengthen your neck, setting it back down. And just take a moment to allow those eyes to slowly become closed. And see if you can feel your back body connecting with the mat or the prop with each breath. So as you inhale, maybe you feel your body lifting away just a little bit. And as you exhale, perhaps you notice your back making a little bit more connection with the ground. Might be a very subtle awareness of what's happening there with the breath and the body. Just take a few moments to try and tune into that. And this allows us to start bringing the focus away from the outer world, bringing it closer into us. Noticing how your back body gently rises and falls with each breath. And then move your awareness to your toes, checking in with your toes, the soles of your feet, your ankles, just noticing how they feel. Are they tight? Are they loose? Are there any aches and pains there? No judgment, just curiosity. And move that focus up your body. Just checking in with what your body wants to tell you today. Moving past the knees and the hips. Are there areas of your body that are waiting to be stretched, that are waiting to be infused with energy? Just checking in, what does your body want from you today? Then bring your focus back to your breath. And begin to make that breath a little bit deeper on the inhale and a little bit longer on the exhale. These long breaths will start to let your body know that you're moving into your practice. You're moving into this time just for you to connect with your physical self. And on your next exhale, allow your chin to drop on over slow to the right side. Stretching that neck. And then once it doesn't want to move anymore on its own, just return to your breath and allow gravity to increase that stretch another millimeter or two, just on its own. And then on an exhale, begin to move your chin back to center and over to the left side. Nice and slow, feeling all those little creaks and cracks potentially of your neck as it slides on over. And once it doesn't want to go anymore, just let it be and let gravity help those last few millimeters. So no forcing here, just allowing gravity to be our workout buddy today and assist with that next stretch. Then slowly bring your gaze back up to center. Turn your hands so your pinkies touching the ground, your arms outstretched. And as you inhale, begin to bring your arms up, sweeping up so the fingers are pointing toward the ceiling. And exhale, see if you can pull your shoulder blades into the prop or the ground. On an inhale, reach those fingers away, lifting your shoulders up. Then exhale, pull those shoulders down, seeing if you can connect them with the ground. Do this movement a few more times to your own breath space. Checking to see if you can get the motion to come just from the shoulders, waking those shoulders up. And you can stay here with the arms toward the ceiling, or if you choose, maybe you want to move the arms overhead nice and slow. And then continue to do the same lifting of the shoulders, pulling the shoulders down. So try to isolate the movement just in your shoulders, keeping the elbows straight, the fingers reaching low. And then wherever you are, we're slowly going to sweep those arms back down to our sides, keeping the elbows straight, reaching the fingers long. And you can use your hands to help bring your knees back together. They're apart. Reaching the right arm up overhead, left arm across the body. You're slowly going to roll off your pillow, if there's a pillow or a prop there, coming onto your side. Head onto your arm, and you can move that prop out of the way. And then we're slowly going to move back to the mat. So your back is flat on the mat, knees are bent. You can bring those heels in closer to your butt and walk the legs together so they're touching. Nice gentle squeeze, working those inner leg muscles. And let's bring those arms open to a cactus on the ground. Inhale deep. And as you exhale, keep the legs squeezing together as you slowly move the legs to the right-hand side. And maybe they don't go all the way down to the ground. That is okay, because we're working those inner leg muscles. So we want to keep those legs together, squeezing. And so this isn't a relaxed twist like we've done at the end of class before. We're engaging those muscles to keep the legs together. Maybe also the core to keep the legs up and together. Slowly building that heat and that engagement in the core area. And then slowly return the legs to center. Maybe release that connection just for a moment between the legs. And then begin to gently squeeze the legs together again. And let them drop to the left side. Keeping the legs attached just like they're glued. allowing them to fall over just as far as you can still keep that engagement of the legs together. So you may be feeling the core area warm up, the inner leg area warm up. Checking in with that deep inhale, long exhale. Let's bring those legs back to center. Bring your right knee into your chest, wrapping your hands around the shin, and just tucking that leg into your chest. Then we're going to extend the left leg long. You have an option to stay with your back and head on the mat here, but I'm going to add a little core engagement to my move. So I'm going to bring my belly button into my spine, tuck my chin into my chest as I curl on up. And I'm going to point my left toe, both my toes, just to engage the leg. And I'm going to switch my leg 3 times. So I'm going to straighten my right leg, bring my left one in, switch again, and again. And then you can melt that back down to the mat, and you now should be holding the other knee into your chest. So there's a few different levels in that core switch there. If you're tucked up, what you're trying to do is keep your lower back to the ground. And if that's hard, then you can just keep your whole body on the ground while you do that switch. So let's try that again. Think belly button into spine, engage the core. Tuck the chin into the chest as you roll on up, and then get ready to switch the legs. So we're gonna switch again, and one more time. And then melt back down. Beautiful. Let's bring both knees into the chest. Then we're gonna release them a little bit, bringing the hands right behind the legs, close to the little behind the knee pocket. I like to cross my legs over each other, thinking belly button to spine again. I'm gonna tuck up into this little ball so you can feel my spine round. And just for fun, I'm gonna start to rock just a little bit, thinking belly button to core. Feel free to use your legs to get you started. And then see if you can rock a little bit more, and you may feel really silly, and then rock yourself all the way up. Just enjoy that for the fun it is. And then once you get up, however you can, we're gonna turn on over and find our tabletop. So spreading the fingers nice and wide, index fingers forward. Feel the knuckles connect with the ground. We're going to lean forward and begin to make some nice circles over those wrists. So as you move your body over the wrists, you're making little circles, feeling the weight change around the outside of your palm and through the knuckles of the hand. Then pause, let's go the other way. So not only are we warming up the wrist here, especially if we've been doing lots of typing, we're also warming up our hips and our upper body, making the movement quite big. And maybe you want to have a little bit of fun by really bringing your sit bones back and making it a really large circle. Then we're going to come into stillness. Think belly button to spine. Really push the ground away. Reach the left foot back, tucking the toes, pushing the heel back, stretching the calf. Raising the leg. And I'm going to begin to walk my right fingers forward. Option to lift the arm also off the ground. And we'll spin that thumb up into the air today. Reaching long, fingertips to toes. Option to stay here with your balance or to move with the breath. Inhale, knee and elbow together. Exhale, reach. Inhale together. Exhale, reach. Continue with your own breath. Continue to hold or get back in if the balance is wobbly. And then reach out one last time and come on down. Feel that tabletop get reset. Let's try the other side. Tuck the right toes, push the right heel back. Walk the left fingers out. And if it feels good, you can raise that arm and that leg. So again, multi-level class. We're here, we're moving. That's all we want our bodies to do. So whether you want to hold or you want to come together, yogi's choice. Inhale the knee and the elbow. Reach on the exhale. Challenge is to get the breath to guide the movement. Or if you're in a hold, your challenge is to keep the breath consistent and long. Reach out one more time. Then come down to tabletop. Beautiful. Walk the knees wide. Big toes together. Let's move on back to a child's pose. So hips come back, walking those hands long. And if your head is floating up in the air, you can stack the palms for your forehead to rest on. A fist in a palm. Just finding a place you can rest the head. And we're stretching the back here, so really think about moving your sit bones toward the heels and or walking those fingers out long. Almost as if someone were helping you stretch from end to end. And then finding that nice deep inhale. Nice long exhale. Press your hands into the ground, slightly raise the chest and the head. Let's walk those hands over to the left side. Perhaps they come off the mat. Maybe the right hand comes on top of the left as you melt back down. Pulling that right hip toward the right sit bone. Seeing if you can feel the stretch in the side body today. And returning to that nice, long, rhythmic breath. I've been finding that my side body stretches have been really helpful in counteracting all of the desk sitting that I've been doing in the last few days. Especially on my right side, because I tend to slouch on one side of my chair. And exhale, press your hands into the ground, lift your chest and head. Walk them over the mat and keep going over to the left side, just until you feel that side body stretch, and then melt back down. Maybe the left sit bone comes closer to the butt cheek. And be curious about your own body. And just observe, does one side feel a little bit more open than the other? Most of us aren't symmetrical, ever. But in yoga, we're trying to work out those unsymmetrical places and try and get them to be more symmetrical. Because over time, this will help us have less injury. It'll help us be more balanced in our body. And then let's walk those hands back to center, reaching out long. One last time, and then walk those hands back to tabletop. Really spreading the fingers, connecting the knuckles and the fingertips. We're gonna tuck the toes, begin to push the front of the mat away as we move our sit bones back. The knees will begin to float. And then begin to lift your hips up nice and high, knees can stay bent. And then maybe you wanna walk your dog a little bit. So those knees, one will really bend, one will move slightly closer to straight. Just do a little bit of movement. There's many things to think about in down dog. So today I'm really thinking about lifting my hips. That's my big focus. Almost as if there was a string on either side of my hip bones and someone was pulling them up. And then slowly coming into stillness. Those knees can still be bent. So you're thinking about spreading the fingers out, pushing the front of the mat away and lifting the hips. And this again will help extend the spine. Inhale, looking forward. Let's baby step the feet to the front of the mat, keeping the hips high. Then really bend the knees and bring the belly button to the thighs. Forward fold. You can grab your elbows with your hands. Really bend the knees. And then think about lifting the hips here, only as high as you need to feel the stretch in the legs. And if you've lost that sensation, then really bend your knees again. Allow the head and neck to hang. And then think about lifting the hips. And when you lift the hips, you may notice your legs begin to straighten. But think about the movement coming from the hip bones instead of the knees. Inhaling deep. Exhaling long. Let's release the hands down and slowly begin to curl the spine, rising up one little vertebrae at a time. Hands dangle down, head dangles down. And then maybe you roll those shoulders, lift the head. Standing nice and tall, feeling the breath. We'll begin to pick up the pace a little bit. We're going to do a few half sun salutations. So I'm going to guide the breath. If you've been doing yoga for a while, feel free to follow those breath cues. If following breath and body movement is too much for you, then just think about breathing through your nose and doing the movement. All right, let's give this a go. So inhale through the nose. Exhale through the nose. Inhale, raise those arms high. Gaze can come up. Exhale, bend the knees, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, coming to a 7. Hands on the shins, extend the spine. Exhale, forward fold, bend the knees. And inhale, sweep those hands forward and up if there's room, coming nice and tall. Exhale, hands through heart center. Inhale, hands by the side. Exhale, standing tall. Keep feeling your breath. Let's try that same thing one more time. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep to stand. Exhale, hands through heart center. Inhale, hands by the side. Exhale, stand tall. One more time, inhale up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep to rise. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, hands by your side. Exhale, stand. Beautiful. So that's the beginning of a half sun salutation. We're going to add a few more moves to that. So if you'd like to keep going with the breath, please do. If you're feeling a little lightheaded, just feel free to let your breath return to normal. All right, so stand tall, feel those feet, maybe roll those shoulders back. Inhale deep. Exhale long. Inhale, sweep and rise. Exhale, fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, step back with your right foot. Exhale, drop the knee. Inhale, come to your lunge. Exhale, settle in your lunge. Inhale, raise the arms. And exhale, settle in your lunge. And just keep that rhythm of the breath going as you sink into the legs. We're just pausing here to stretch out our legs. And if you find that's a little too deep or you want to work a bit more on strength, then you can tuck the toes and maybe try a high lunge. And just notice the difference in those two stretches. And then let's bring the hands down beside the foot. Really feel the hands connect with the ground and step back to plank from knees or toes. Bring your belly button to your spine, nice strong core. And then slowly lower yourself all the way down to the belly. Walk those feet out to the corners of the mat. Bring the elbows underneath the shoulders. Let's come into Sphinx. And we're gonna pause here to begin to stretch out the back. So think about allowing your belly to touch the mat as you extend out the spine and the head. So it's almost like you're trying to pull yourself through your arms. A little bit of activity there. Checking in that you're still breathing. Sometimes we like to hold the breath on a back bend. And we're gonna come all the way down. Reaching your hands behind you, fingertips toward the ground, tented down. You're gonna inhale. And as you exhale, lift your chest and head, extending long. Option to lift the hands above the hips, maybe at the feet. Check in with the breath. Exhale down. Bring the hands back up beside the chest, spreading the fingers. Really feel the knuckles connect with the ground. Feel the tops of your toes and your knees press into the ground. Engage your core and get ready for some strength work. We're gonna push ourselves up to plank from the knees or toes. You're shaking, you're building muscle, that's good. And then tuck those toes, bend the knees, and let's slowly move back to a down dog. Whew. Beautiful, so really think about raising the hips high today. Pushing the front of the mat away. We're gonna inhale, looking forward. Baby step those feet to the front of the mat. Bend the knees, forward fold. And then slowly roll on up one vertebra at a time, pushing the feet into the ground. Rolling those shoulders back, head comes up, we're gonna stand tall. And just notice the right side and the left side of your body. For that little lunge there, notice if there's some differences going on. We're gonna get ready to do the same thing on the other side. So let's find our breath together. Let's inhale deep. Exhale long. Inhale, sweep up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, plant the hands. Step back with the right foot this time. Dropping the knee. Finding the lunge. And then maybe bringing those arms up nice and high. And allowing yourself to settle into lunge. And this is quite a big stretch. A little bit of strengthening and stretching. And if you want to experiment with tucking those back toes and seeing how this feels on the other side as a high lunge, just taking the time to experiment to feel that difference in your body, especially if you're newer to the practice. And then let's bring our hands beside the front foot. Really plant the hands, really press into the ground. And however you can, let's step back to plank on knees or toes. When you're in plank, really push the ground away. Bring belly button to spine to engage a nice strong core. And then slowly lower all the way down to the belly. Bringing the shoulders, elbows underneath the shoulders, hands in front. You can walk those feet to the corners into our Sphinx. So to find an active Sphinx again today, allow the belly to rest on the floor. And think about engaging the spine to lift up. And it's almost like you're trying to pull yourself forward. So that chest comes forward and the head really extends. We extend our back nice and long. This might feel slightly strange because it's a position we don't do much. But that's even more reason to do it in yoga. So feel that breath and belly connect on the mat. And then slowly come down. Reach the arms behind you, 10th the fingers. So spidering the ground. You're gonna inhale. Exhale, lift the chest and back and head all by itself, reaching nice and long. An option if you want, you can lift the hands above the hips and maybe the feet. So 3 different options going on here for this back bend. You take the one that works for you today, and wherever you are, I want you to check in with your breath. Make sure you still have that deep inhale. And if you ate before class today, this might not feel so good. Exhale down. Hands by the chest, tuck the toes, knees into the mat. Use that strength and let's push up to plank. Whew. Nice strength there. Maybe adjust those hands a little bit. Tuck the toes, bend the knees, and let's come into our down dog however you can. Feeling free to adjust the stance. And today we're thinking about lifting those hip bones nice and high. This last few weeks we're thinking about the fingers being spread and the finger pads. So now we're moving into the high hips. We're slowly going to work our focus through the term, through these different pieces of down dog. Inhale, looking forward. Let's baby step the feet to the front of the mat. Bend the knees, forward fold. Think about lifting those hips high. Feel the feet press into the ground. Let's inhale, sweep the arms forward as we come up. Exhale, hands through heart center. Hands by the sides. And just embrace your standing. Observing how that little session made you feel. So yoga is a whole mix of things, the breath, body movements. You don't need to get them all in the first class, in your 10th class, in your 100th class. It's all a journey. So that was just an introduction to some rhythmic sun salutations. And I encourage you to try just those half ones in the morning when you get up in the morning. Find your rhythm, add a little bit of movement. All right, maybe finding a place in the middle of the mat. Let's stand with our feet hip width apart. The left foot is going to get heavy, the right foot's going to get light. And just like we did in the beginning of class, we're going to bring that right knee into the chest. Maybe you want to help it out at first with the shins. So now we're doing this movement standing. So this is a balance here. That's the first thing we're working on. So if this is difficult, if you're getting new to balances, maybe grab the wall and you can bring that knee into the chest. Maybe grab a chair. You'll just notice over time your balance begins to change. Now we're gonna add a little bit of core engagement here. So think about bringing your belly button to the spine and really begin to slowly let go of your hands, seeing if you can have that knee still be tucked into the chest as you bring your arms out to the side. So now it's not just balance right now, we're strengthening our hip flexor, we're strengthening our core. Then maybe if you want, you can flex that foot and see if you can extend that leg out in front of you. And it can be down here, you might be fighting it a bit. Try and activate that leg and think, rise. And then bring the knee back to the chest and bring it down. Shake it out. Whew. Maybe if it's cramping up here in your hip flexors, you can do a little self massage. Pound it out a little bit. Those hip flexors can work hard. All right. Connect with your standing pose. Maybe lift those toes, set them down. This time we're gonna left foot get heavy. Right foot gets heavy. Left foot gets light. And you're gonna bring that knee into the chest, maybe wrap those hands around the shin, help it out. Standing nice and tall. Using a wall or a chair if you're just starting the balance poses. And I want you to think about standing nice and tall right from your foot. So we're trying to avoid a curve. Trying to extend the spine and then bring the knee in. And then begin to really think about activating the core, belly button to spine, strong core. Hip flexor, try and keep that leg tucked in. Slowly release the hands to the side. If you choose. Whew. Flex the foot. And then play around with extending the leg. Using that hip flexor to keep it up, stretching out the hamstrings, straighten that knee. Wherever you are, radical self-acceptance. You're here, you're moving. Doesn't matter what you look like, just that you're trying. And then bring that knee back in. Set it down. Shake out those legs. Maybe pound out the hip flexor a little bit. A little bit of self-massage. Whew. Nice. Okay. Let's play around with one more balance pose. All right. Feet hip width apart. We're going to go back to the left foot being solid, right foot coming up. We're going to flex the foot, bring the knee into the chest. Hand comes onto the knee and onto the hip. So this is our first balance here. You can also hold on to the wall, help with the balance. If you've been doing yoga a long time, feel free to grab your big toe. Or I've been doing it a long time, but I'm pretty much stick with my knee. An option to open the hip to the side so your foot goes to the side. Ooh, that can change your balance a little bit. Option to stay here or to raise your hip hand out to the side, thumbs up, just like you're hitchhiking. And option to see if you can move your gaze over your thumb. And this part I always find is my challenge place here. And then slowly, wherever you are, you're going to move in reverse. So bringing the gaze back to center. Hand comes to the hip. Comes in. And you bring that foot down. And take it out. Wherever you are, be happy if you fall out, get back in. If you are more stable this week than you were a couple weeks ago, enjoy that. All right, other side. Where were we? Right foot gets heavy, left foot gets light. So bring up that knee to a 90-degree angle, flex the foot, it will help with the balance. Hand on knee, hand on hip. Option to stay here, or option to open the hip to the side. So trying to use the hip flexor here rather than your hand to open it up. Option if you choose to release arm out to the side, thumb up. Option to bring the gaze over the thumb. Ooh, embrace the wobble. Smile a little. You don't have to be super serious in yoga. Ooh, get back in if you fall out. Then slowly move in reverse. Bring that gaze back to center. Hand on the hip. Knee comes in, foot comes down. Shake that out. Good job. All right. Come to the front of your mat. Your feet are going to come out as wide as the mat, maybe wider than the mat. When I started, mine were always wider than the mat. Toes go out, heels come in. You're going to reach those arms back this time. Finding the fingers, reaching the arms back and down. We're gonna bend the knees a little bit, hinge forward as we do a forward fold in this different leg position. And then think about reaching your hands away from your back body. And your legs can still be really bent here. So we're kind of working on our shoulders. And that lift away from our back body can just be a millimeter or two. You want that energy to move away from the back body. And then see if you can switch the fingers that you're holding on to while you're upside down. And then re-engage those shoulders to move them away. Finding that symmetrical balance in our movement. And then bending the knees, really feeling the foot on the floor. Begin to unhinge those hips so you can rise up to standing. That's a little bit of a challenge move in itself. Move nice and slow. If you're dizzy, catch yourself, let go of those hands. Bring the arms by the sides. Just stand tall. Capture your breath. Maybe roll the shoulders. We're going to sweep those arms high. Palms together. And as you exhale, bring those knees out over the toes, coming into your squat. So you're sitting that butt down behind you. Hands can come into heart center. Just feel those feet actively push into the ground, actively work to hold you up. Connect with your breath. And if you want, maybe you want to move into a passive yogi squat. So dropping your butt a little bit lower than a standard gym squat. Checking in here, again, checking with those feet being active, still pushing into the ground. And then wherever you are, you're going to bring the hands to the ground. Bring your sit bones to the ground. Bringing yourself around on the mat. We're going to bring those legs glued together just like we did at the start of class. Hands are going to come behind your back. You're going to sit nice, tall spine. So belly button to spine, nice extended spine. Knees are bent. And this here, you can feel your core begin to warm up. You can feel your back really work and stretch. So if you're in that yellow zone where you feel some nice work going on in a safe place, I want you to stay here. If you have room to still grow, push those toes into the ground. Begin to lean back until those feet maybe want to pop off the ground. Still nice long spine. Option to stay here. Option to maybe reach one arm out and then the other. Whew. So we have a few different versions of boat pose going on right now. You also have the option to extend those legs if you can keep your back straight. So we're really working on that spine extension. So wherever you are, think proud collarbone, proud chest, extend the spine. And then slowly release. Whew. Walk those feet mat width apart. Hands behind the hips, really spread the fingers, make a nice large area. Push the feet and the hands into the ground to raise your sit bones to a little crab. Now I want you to continue to push the hands and feet into the ground as you engage those glute muscles to raise your hips up. You can use your core too, making reverse tabletop. Check in with that breath. Really push those hands down, feet down, butt muscles. This is a lot of body engagement here. And then slowly come on down. Whew. We're gonna walk onto the forearm and then slowly come down to the mat. Nice and long. And we're gonna walk, heel toe those feet up to the sides of the mat and let the knees fall in. So this is the opposite rotation that we started with. So we started with external rotation with the knees out. Now we're moving to internal with the knees in. You can bring your hands to your belly. Perhaps you're gonna close your eyes. I want you to pick your favorite color of balloon. Maybe it's sparkly balloon too. And picture that balloon in your stomach. And I want you to inhale long and deep through the nose to blow up the balloon. Feel that balloon grow beneath your hands. And when it's full, pause for a moment, admire that color. And then slowly allow that balloon to deflate. Feeling the whole movement with your hands. Inhale, begin to grow that balloon nice and big, nice and slow, feeling it growing with your hands. Pause and admire the balloon, the color. Then exhale, slowly allow the balloon to deflate. I want you to do a few more balloon breaths to your own pace. Just feeling that movement beneath the hands. And as you finish your next balloon breath, no rush. You can heel toe those feet back. So they're together. We're going to open those arms to cactus arms once again. And then allow your hips, your knees to drop over to the left side. And unlike the twist at the beginning of class, you can let those knees separate. Maybe you want the bottom knee to go all the way to the floor. And then you can bring that gaze over to the right side. Again, you don't have to force your neck to go super far. Just allow gravity to be your friend in this pose. Gravity can be your workout buddy. And over time, your neck and your legs will just slowly release closer to the ground. As your long breaths are able to help your body calm and relax, those muscles will just naturally be more ready to release a bit more. And gravity is going to help out with that. Maybe you just notice with each exhale how you feel your body just relaxing more into the ground. Maybe by taking up more space. Maybe it's beginning to feel a bit more heavy. Just begin to notice those subtle differences over time, how this pose feels. Then slowly you can bring your gaze back to center, your legs back to center. And begin to let them drop slowly to the right side. Again, now we're in a relaxed twist. So the knees can separate. You can allow the left cheek to help the chin and head move to the side. And then allow gravity to help you release this pose a little bit more. And you can observe how your body gets a little bit heavier, takes up a little bit more space. With each breath. Maybe just noticing with curiosity how that active engaged twist at the beginning of class is different from this passive, more relaxed twist at the end of class. Both are great for your body in two completely different ways. And then slowly you can bring that gaze back to center, knees to center. And you can choose to move your arms alongside your body, palms rolling open on the mat. And if you want to keep your knees bent, if that's more relaxing for you, feeling free. Maybe you want to bring the heels to the corners and extend those legs long for a few moments here. And just taking a moment to maybe bring your attention back down to the toes where we started class. Checking in with the toes and soles of the feet and how they feel. And then move that awareness up past your ankles and into your shins and calves. And do that little observation scan on your body, moving slowly. Just noticing the areas of openness. Maybe noticing if there's been any changes from tension to openness. Or sometimes if we overstretch, we may have gone from openness to tension. So that's good to be aware of too for our next practice to make changes. So just check in and see how today's practice affected your body and your breath. perhaps the space between your thoughts got a little bit bigger. And then you can begin to wiggle the toes, wiggle the fingers. Maybe move the neck from side to side. Reaching the arms up overhead if you have room. And planting one foot on the floor and then the other. Rolling over to one side of your body. And just pausing here just for a moment. And thinking today of one thing you were grateful for. Anything at all. Just taking a moment to feel that gratitude. Push your top end into the mat. Let's slowly come on up to a nice seated position. Those hands can be on the lap. It can be at heart center. Just feel that spine extend toward the ceiling. And we will end with a deep inhale through the nose. And a long exhale through the mouth. Letting today's practice go. Thank you for joining me this Thursday. I hope to see you all again next week or on our YouTube channel. Check out all of those classes. Have a lovely rest of your week, lovely afternoon, and we'll see you next time.